Hey everyone, Aaron here, and I hope you guys liked the new intro. I really worked hard on this morning. I think it has some improvements. I might do some tweaking on it here and there, but for the most part, I think it's pretty good. Also, new outro, but the outro is not that great. It's basically the same thing as last time. It's the same image and all that, but it's just slightly different buttons and different button layouts and stuff like that. But without further ado, let's talk about Psychopaths 2. Now, the reason I'm doing this review is because tomorrow is going to be Psychopaths the movie that I'm seeing. It came out today also, but I'm going to be seeing it tomorrow in theaters. I will have a review out for it on Thursday or Saturday. Thursday, depending if I'm busy on Thursday. If not, I will have a review up for Thursday, my normal time. If I am busy on that day, it'll be a regular review will come out, and it'll be Saturday that I come out with it. But without further ado, let's talk about Psychopaths 2. Now, I know online a lot of people are talking about Psychopaths 2 as being worse than Series 1, and they're talking about how bad it is compared to Season 1. I think Season 1 is awesome. I think it's a lot better than Season 2 in many ways. But Season 2 has its ups and downs, and it definitely is not a bad show at all. It's a decent sequel, if not okay. Now, what happened in the first season was obviously spoiler territory, so I'm going to warn you guys, if you've not seen the first one, don't watch this review. But in the first season, we saw that Kogami left the group. He went on the lam, essentially. And Akane now is kind of left to her own devices. And, Ginaza, what is his name? Ginaza, I'm sorry, I can never pronounce his name correctly. Ginaza also became an enforcer because of the various issues that happened to him in the first season. So a lot of changes happened to the group of Section 1. Now in Season 2, what's so cool is what we see right away is Akane taking this huge, big step of now it's been several months after the first season, if not a year, and she is not the same person that she was in Season 1, excuse me. She is a whole different person. She is now strong, she's very strong-minded, and very independently active. Unlike first season where she was reliant on Kogami, she is now seeing her own way of doing things and how she handles things using both his style and also her own style. I think that's cool. I actually love that the character has changed that much. Now, season 2 is not like season 1 in many retrospects because it doesn't deal with multiple issues, but only one singular issue. There's another guy who's showing up who now is very similar to the main guy from the first one, who has the ability that his psychopath is not readable per se. He comes off as always being crystal clear. And what's happening with that is now he's also getting other people to work for him and causing this kind of uproar in the Cybil system that we saw from the first season. And he says that he wants to change it. He wants to change the whole system. He wants to alter it to show what really should be the way it should be working. Now, what's interesting about season 2 though is because it's kind of the one story rather than multiple stories, you get a shorter series. This is only 11 episodes long, so before you know it, it's over. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's one of the weakest parts of it is that I love the first season because it had different stories. It was like more of a CSI type show where, future CSI essentially. You had the different individuals cases. You also had the overall arcing story that you had to it because again, the main guy in the first one was similar to the guy in the second one, but he was always in the back burner until the nearer end of the show or the near mid halfway point of the show when he really took action. And they were really more focused on kind of setting up all these characters and stuff like that. With season 2, I understand why it didn't do that because there's no point to set up characters that you already now know and that you have advanced in certain ways. But there are certain characters that in the story that are now added to Psychopaths 2 that do not get enough time in 11 episodes to get fully fleshed out. Namely, the one redheaded kid that you can see on the far left of the screen. His story is very kind of blasé. And that's not an issue with just him. That's also an issue with several other characters. Like there are other enforcers and investigators that are mentioned in the story that I won't go into great detail because they will spoil it. But their stories aren't fully fleshed out, and that's one of the biggest issues I have with this overall. Is that you have characters that are introduced and just pop. That's it. They're done. And that's an issue. I think that any show that's going to rely on characters for more than one episode needs to kind of set up some dominant rules about them and set up a little bit of more of a backstory to them. There are characters that get a little bit of backstory. They explain why they are in the circumstances they're in, but not enough to fully say that they're worth investing your time or even your care for them. Now, what's even worse about Psychopaths 2 is the ending is tragically awesome and bad at the same time. I don't mind a good ending. I don't mind where everything's wrapped up nicely. I don't mind that at all. I think I prefer that in series. But you also have to be careful of trying to kind of wrap everything up so neatly that it's perfect. And Psychopaths tries to do that, where it makes all these characters, all these character issues that just suddenly popped up in the course of 11 episodes, perfectly situated and solved at the end of this 11 episode series. That's an issue. a lot of things just work out because they worked out. That's, to me, not a good ending. I don't think that's ever been a good ending format. But it's not something that per se is horrible either. It works to kind of just keep it at, here's what we're dealing with, that's it. But at the same time, like I said, it kind of irks me a little bit. And I think it's going to irk a lot of people that like endings that are a little less neat. They want a little bit more open story. Overall, though, let's talk about everything else besides this story. Characters are cool. I like the character development. I really think that the plot lines and the character development these characters had over the course of the series, especially going from first season to second season, is really awesome to see. I mean, Akane has stolen the show now as the main character, and I give her credit for that. But even more so, I give the writers credit for making a character who was so weak-minded in the first season. She wasn't per se weak-willed in the first season. She acted and stuff like that, but she was weak-minded and she was very reliant on Kogami. And this season, we see less of her being reliant on Kogami. We still see it here and there, but it's more so a kind of psychological concept that she does with having Kogami essentially be there for her without physically being there, which I actually think is really cool. In the same kind of way in real life, you like that, where people take things from parents or people that they consider role models and have them embody them in some ways in their mind. So I think that's really cool and it was very real world. And I think Ginza now is an enforcer who he used to be very strict and very, I think, kind of, I want to see hype. I can't think of the actual word I'm thinking of, and I hate when that happens. But he was very critical in the first season. Now you see a character that Ginza is less critical, but still strong as he was in the first season. So they didn't make him weaker per se, giving him now a demotion to an enforcer, but they made him a stronger character, and I think that's really awesome. Other characters, again, they really have not. They're there, but they're not physically there. Like the girl with the girl that works in the science division of this place. I always forget her name, and I'm not going to look it up right now. But she is there, but she's really not explained anymore further than what she was explained in the first season. Same with the girl with the black hair you see on the far right of the screen. They're there again for another season of not being fully fleshed out, and it's like they could be a little bit more done with them. I know they went into the backstories in the first season. I get that, but you didn't really even get a full, clear picture of that. I think one of my biggest issues always with Psycho-Pass is the characters sometimes are like hit or miss here and there. I don't know. I guess that's the way they want to do them. They want to make certain characters be over the top compared to everyone else. They want to put them in the forefront rather than have them in the forefront with everyone. They wanted to have them in the background, but have them in the forefront, like have the main characters in the forefront. I understand that perspective-wise, it makes sense to have Akane always take. I mean, even the picture right there, you see it. The characters, ironically, I kid you not, and I just realized this now looking at the screen. Ironically, the characters that are standing up close to the actual image are the characters that take the biggest precedent of the show, and everyone else that's in the further back, they're there just to be background characters in many ways. I think that's ironic. I just noticed that now. It's funny. Animation-wise, again, though, Psycho-Pass 2 is amazing. I love the animation for it. It's very graphic at times. It's very nice. Everything looks really well done. I think sometimes the backgrounds could be a little bit stronger, but that's not a big deal. I mean, I think personally it works perfectly fine. The music is a lot better in many ways. I don't think the intro and outro are as good as the first season, but they're done by the same group, so if you do love their music, you'll probably like this season too also. Overall, Psycho-Pass 2 is not a bad series. It's not. If I had to review A through F, I'd have to give it a solid B-. I think that it's not as bad as everyone's making out to be. I think that if you're comparing to the first season, it is unfair almost in a way because the first season was a lot better. But Psycho-Pass 2, it does excel in certain ways with characters, and I think that Akane as a main character now is really cool. But yeah, it's not a bad series. I think you'll highly enjoy it. And again, 11 episodes goes by quickly. I watched this in the course of like 3 days, I think it was. And I enjoyed what I watched, so it was worth it for me. It makes me hyped up for the movies. I mean, I know the movie is apparently taking place more so after the first season. It's still taking place after the second season also, but it has more to do with the first season, which is kind of cool and intriguing to me. Anyways, though, that's it for my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize if I sounded really tired. I am really tired. It's really early in the morning. I should not be doing this right now, but I wanted to get this out to you guys as soon as possible today, and I figured if I don't do the review now, I wouldn't do it later in the day, so kind of have to do it now. Anyways, guys, like always, please comment, subscribe, do the whole 9 yards. You know what to do. And as always, until I pass across again in the next review, have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.